that's obviously setting out your stall in terms of the post-Egan era, and clearly Pearce and much of the work that you do within the construction industry is along the rethinking construction lines. But let's perhaps go back a little bit before we look at that. And we were saying earlier that you were a graduate of the University of Western England some years ago. So clearly it was quite a different industry that you entered at that particular time. Yes. So the post-Egan scenario that you've just set out clearly didn't apply when you first joined the industry.
No. Just about every job that we did was a competitively tendered job, with the opportunity that if you did a good job, you might get something else from that customer. Shot, Yes. And without having any of the Egan theory, the Pearce family were actually quite good at that, just from a business sense. So, for instance, we had a team of people within British Aerospace, which is not far from here, probably working for 20 years, just doing one job after the next, being involved in maintenance work and small refurbishments, without any of the Egan theory driving it. It was just good business sense that once you've got a group of people that knew the engineers and the customers, you try to keep them.
So there was something quite good to build on there.
Yes.
It wasn't a huge transformation when you started addressing the Egan agenda, you're saying. But generally, the industry was very much price competitive, adversarial, confrontational. Yeah.
Although we were coming out of an era where we had quite a lot of direct labour, where that would have meant, from a supply chain point of view, you had a lot of control over what people did on site. We moved into a total subcontracting era, where we became a management contractor rather than what in the 60s would have been seen as a traditional main contractor. And we went through the same learning and changes that most main contractors did. We got rid of all those directly employed operatives. We got rid of all our plant that we had. We had other subsidiary companies that were all closed down. We had a joinery shop. We had a garage and repaired all our own vehicles. All that went. And
do you think you lost a lot of control in that process?
Yes. Which we're only now starting to really understand how to get back by the supply chain sort of work that we're doing.
So do you think contractors kind of gave up that control too easily?
Yes.
With insufficient thought as to what you're going
the
to
consequences.
Put back in its place.
Yes.
And it's only now really that we're beginning to see putting something back in place that kind of replicates that relationship that you had with the people actually undertaking the task.
Yes. And the process that we'll be talking about a bit later, the collaborative planning process, is a vehicle to try and get that link much further down the supply chain. And we're going down as far as the foreman of the gang that is actually working on the site. Right. So the foreman of the suspended ceiling company or the steel work or whatever it might be, and actually engaging with those guys to say...
So you're almost coming back full circle, aren't you, to where you were, but adopting a different strategy.
Yes.
Different approach.
Yes.